Yeah, so the phone rang. I was sitting on the side of the bed and the phone rang. And when I walked around the side of the bed, picked the phone, I said hello. And on the other end was Kenny. And he said, Mom, he said, I just want to let you know that I love you.
And I was
So
just coming out of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel on the Manhattan side, and I got a call from somebody in my office, asking me where I was and telling me that a plane had just hit the World Trade Center. And at first I didn't believe them because I was running.
I don't even think I said okay. And all of a sudden he said, but I got to get out of here because there's a bomb. And then he was gone. That was it. I never spoke to him again. Never.
But you could see a lot more debris coming down, and there was smoke. And I looked up a couple of times, and you could definitely see people that were jumping or had already jumped. And
was that we were getting ready to go through the tunnel. They stopped us, and we had to divert out of there because they were worried about a white van that had explosives, which was not too far in front of us. It was only about 5 cars in front of us. So it was, in a very bizarre sense, it was very spectacular because it became, okay, everybody back up, and we're in a convoy, so convoys just don't normally just back up and all. And
When
we
I
ended up at the
heard
meadow.
their message, he was so frantic, scared, like it was like he was running, and it was in his voice. It was like it was horrible. It was like he was trying to get away. I could hear it on the tape because she
we were trapped very briefly, and we couldn't figure out how to get out of the building because a lot of the entrances had been blocked, and like I said, the lobby had been completely destroyed, so we couldn't go back out the way that you would normally leave a building. So we spent about 10-15 minutes trying to figure out how to get out. And then once you got on the street, I remember very clearly it was just a lot of paper and like concrete debris. It wasn't like big chunks of debris. And the other thing I remember is that it was amazingly quiet. For what had just happened, you would expect there to be a lot of noise and a lot of people running and screaming, and there really just wasn't any of that. It was just complete silence. And I walked out with another woman.
There was no big blocks of concrete. There was nothing. It had all been pulverized. It was all the dust, the white dust. That was the thing. If I was to remember the site for anything, there was the white dust when we got there. It looked like snow, slurry. That's what I saw. And then
most disturbing was that you could hear the fire department pass devices, the accountability devices. When a firefighter doesn't move for a period of 30 to 60 seconds, this device will go off. It's a loud beeping noise, and I just remember you could hear a lot of that. And it was collectively like probably about a minute or so after the dust settled, and I don't know, they might have been going off before that. But I started to hear those, and it was very eerie because that means that they're not moving, and so you could hear these devices.
And Riley, one of the dogs, was with us, and Riley hit on something and gave his sign to his handler, and Chris turned to us and said, look, the dog's getting a hit here. And they turned around, and there were numerous volunteers trying to help out, and they hopped on the dog. Before we could even approach it, size up the situation, they hopped right on it. And they started shoveling and moving all sorts of debris away and everything, and they brought the dog in again, and the dog didn't get a hit again.
And at nighttime, I would call his cell phone, and I would tell him that I was coming to get him. And I would say that I loved him, and not to be scared, that mommy's coming. I'm coming to get you. And the phone would ring, and then it would go to voicemail, and his voice would come on there. And I would just leave messages. And then
I think that people are starting to forget how horrible 9/11 was. And what troubles me is that, obviously I was there, and so I know how horrible it was. And so I think part of what a lot of people that were victims of 9/11 try to do is explain to people how terrible it was, and use that as a way to help others understand. And if I can't remember these very kind of precise details, I feel like my ability to explain the event it becomes more difficult.